Hi, this is Cheryl from Little Church Knits. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the basics of the magic loop technique for knitting in the round. This is a great skill to have in your toolbox because it allows you to knit seamlessly in the round without using double pointed needles and without using the 16-inch circular needles which have the shorter tip that doesn't fit comfortably in your hand. So to begin with, I've cast on 20 stitches. You can use the cast on of your choice. Cast them right onto your circular needle, which has a cable length of 40 inches or more. I'm going to slide those stitches right down onto the cable. Turn your work so that the working yarn is on the right-hand side. As you can see, I'm looking at the back side of my work now. I'm looking at a row of purl bumps. There's the right side, in this case the knit side. And I'm just going to find the halfway point in that run of stitches. In this case, it's 10. And right between those two stitches, I'm going to draw up a little loop of cable. Be careful not to pinch or kink your cable at this point. Just draw up a loop so you have something that looks like that. To prevent getting a twist in your work, make sure that those little purl bumps are face to face like that. That's the inside of your work. You're going to want to have the purl bumps facing each other on the inside and your knit stitches facing outward on both sides of the work. Now I'm just going to take the cable that's closest to me. I'm just going to pull it along to get the tip of the needle into working position. Going to slide those stitches up onto the tip of the needle so that they're ready to be worked. My working yarn is on the right hand side. I'm going to take the needle that's farthest from me and just pull it forward, preserving a little loop of excess cable at the other end and creating a little loop of excess cable at this end, at the front end. So now I have two loops of excess cable, one at one end of the round and the other at the other end of the round. They look kind of like mouse ears. And we're going to want to preserve those two little loops throughout the course of our knitting. So I'm going to try and get that last cast on stitch and my first stitch to be knitted as close as possible to one another to rule out any kind of laddering or gap or anything at the beginning of the round. And I'm just going to go ahead and knit across the needle that's closest to me, just as I normally would, while I'm preserving the loop at one end of the work and the loop at the other end of the work. Just go ahead and knit across there as you normally would. What you're doing now is you're knitting the first half of your first round. And there we go. That's what we're looking at. Turn your work so that your working yarn is on the right-hand side. Pull the cable of the part of the needle that's closest to you to allow those stitches to ride up onto the tip in ready position to be knitted. Pull that back needle forward while you preserve that little loop of excess cable and create a little loop of excess cable on the front. And go ahead and knit across those stitches. Once we get across here, we will have completed our first round of knitting. First round is always the worst. Notice my mouse ears are still intact on each end. And we've completed our first round of knitting. Now you're going to find probably that last stitch is maybe a little bit loose and there's maybe a little bit of a gap. Just give that little tail a snug, a tug. Turn your work. Pull on the cable of the needle, part of the needle that's closest to you, allowing those stitches to ride up on the tip of the needle in ready position. Your working yarn is of course on your right hand side. You're just going to draw that needle that's furthest from you forward, preserving a loop at one end and creating a loop at the other. And go ahead and knit as normal. And there, now you've completed your first round. You can see that you've got half of the round on one half of the needle and half of the round on the other half of the needle. And that is really all there is to it. You can continue to go ahead and knit round and round. You can use this for knitting all kinds of things. You can use it if you're working cables, lace stitches, anything. The sleeves of a sweater. Anything where you're required to knit a small diameter and you don't want to use short circulars or double pointed needles. There you go. And that's pretty much it for the Magical Magic Loop. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.